Hey guys, Bolt here, and so the Classic Who was made with a script, and I do have indeed a quite a large script. Oh, hold on, it's so bright. I have quite the script on this one. Oh, hold on, it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's like any little bit, maybe that. Okay, yeah. That's too much. And the issue that I ran into is I'm basically summarizing the episodes. So I kind of want to just kind of throw in, make this a quick one, even though the other one was pretty big. I think the other one was like, because it included much more details I didn't know about. So I had to research those a little bit more. Um, But once I hit like Elkiston, Christopher Eccleston. Once I hit him, not 9, I was good. 10 is my favorite Doctor. Well, I think 14 is my favorite Doctor now, but 10 was the one I grew up with. I saw 9, but because I had to I started seeing most of Tenet. I got into the Martha saga before I went back and watched 9. Um, and that confused me when I was a kid. But, uh, anyways, I think this is where I started like knowing most of what's happening, and I think a lot of stuff in this is pretty good. Um, so 10, what we'll start breaking it slowly into the seasons. 10A is kind of like his mindset has been shaken to be more um, human, and kind of more bright, but he's still, because it's such a traumatizing thing, you don't just because regeneration happened, that's not gonna throw that out. But I think him getting introduced back to people like Sarah Jane, K9, you get him traveling with Mickey for a little bit. They go into the alternate dimension. Rose's whole thing with her dad happens, so he gets to meet. She gets to meet him there. Then we have Doomsday, where we lose Rose, but Rose gets to see most of her family and stuff. Same with Mickey. 10A is really very normal, I'd say. Um, and then of course I forgot what it was. I think I wanted the reason for Doomsday to happen was a government funded operation that finds a disabled hole in reality that lets them do that, to make the ghost. Um, and let's see here. The Daleks, the battle between the Cybermen and the Daleks, um, losing Rose, they're about to confess, and that's really about it for 10A. 10A is the most unchanged. 10B is where it starts alternating a little bit. So because he was just starting to get better and kind of go back to his more doctorish personality, losing Rose was just a giant stomp on what like his character development, and him kind of like becoming an in between of 9 and War. Um, is amazing, and this is kind of where he meets Donna. And I I changed something in 3 where the planet of spiders is the Reknos, I think it is. Um, let's see here. Yeah, I think it's the Rakanos. Um, I wanted them to be introduced as an old enemy in 3. That way, when 10 comes up, he's like, I'm the man who destroyed your planet, and now I'm going to destroy you because you're, invading Earth, and I'm done with this. I'm done with people like you coming in trying to hurt others for no reason, just for your personal gain. Um, and then Donna being like, "Hey, um, the man I hope you are the man I see you shining through. That man needs to come through and show a little bit of mercy." Basically, pulling him back from the edge that Rose left him in, but Donna kind of giving him inspiration to move on and to try to get back into it even without somebody, because I think Donna's whole thing is because Donna's an amazing character because her having like self doubt and all that, um, she kind of can put into words for others, and she sees the doctor struggling, and I think the biggest thing leaving him for the Martha era is basically saying you shouldn't be depending on someone else to make yourself happy. Because of course you can have friends and you can have fun, but if that person is your mainstay, you should find something else. And that's kind of like 10B's whole thing is having the doctor find himself, make him not so attached, and that's kind of the reason why Martha gets side-chicked, basically. Um, but it's mostly just because he's uh, aside from like he doesn't really fancy her, um, they don't really have any big bonds aside from like companionship. Um, so Martha kind of pushing the ball up the hill is against so much of a hill, understandable. Um, let's see here. Yeah, the Empress of the Rachnos, Donna showing mercy. She rejects him. Then we move on to um, the doctor clears his mind, has a little vacation. He investigates the suspicious at the hospital that we meet Martha at. Um, let's see here. Him being hung up on Rose, but also trying to like learn from Donna. Um, he kind of can't catch on. Um, as they take off for other adventures, the TARDIS malfunctions, falling into. Um, oh, okay. So they do all their adventures. We have the whole like chameleon watch thing. So most of 10 is untouched, but here's where it starts mostly changing. Is so after their second, the return to New York, and they see how bad it's gotten. We see the classic enemy from 2, like the crabs. We meet the face of Bo as he's dying. He reveals that the doctor is not alone with the whole "you are not alone." Um, and then let's see here. Of course, thanks to Jack from 9, he kind of makes the TARDIS malfunction, tries to shake it off, goes all the way to the end of the universe, where they meet the last of humanity. And because of the Doctor being basically conditioned to not like what Jack is, that's the whole reason why they don't adventure. They do the whole Rose talk. And then let's see here. Oh, I think I forgot to mention is I really wanted the in 10A in the Rose stuff. There is the what is the Satan. I was like, let's make him the reason why the humans are the way they are. Is eventually he would escape from what the doctor did to him, and he would finish off what's left of humanity, and that's why there's like these possessed looking beings hunting people down at the end of time. They find a facility. The doctor tries to give the survivors a way out. The head scientist, Dr. Yanni, makes another discovery with all their talk about time travel, time lords, and that the doctor remembers who he is, and it turns out to be the master, of course. He was given regenerations to serve in the Time War. So at the end of... So what I did with the masters, because I didn't want to do the weird stuff, is I wanted him to be like on his last regeneration since 3. Is basically he's just been like... He was new. That was his last regeneration. He was new to it when 3 came by. And after all his years as the other doctors, eventually him running into him as 6 and 7, the master, he wants regenerations, and that's why he did do the whole fight on the volcano. And because he's older, where there's a new 7th doctor, it's not new. He's a little bit on the older side, but then the master loses that, and because of their fight, then we move into the movies, and then that's the reason why the movies happened. But he actually gets, because it's a big thing happening with the TARDIS and Time Lord stuff. The Time Lords come in, take him prisoner, haul him off, and that's where he gets stuck in the Time War. They bring him out to give him some regenerations. But he decided to leave and hide at the end of time with the Chameleon Watch, the Fog Watch or whatever. And he steals the TARDIS, and he goes back to 2007 with Jack taking the trio with his own device. They return with no sign of Dr. Yanni, because unlike the original, Dr. Yanni here did not get shot. And the master wanted they do find wanted signs for themselves on every pole and every wall. Martha reaches out to her family. They get abducted. And the Prime Minister, Harold Saxon, calls them and takes over the call, asking Martha to turn herself in for her family's sake. And the doctor takes over, asking what's going on, because the doctor has such high connections. For Saxon to break into a very familiar laugh once he realizes it's the doctor. And of course, because it's a very familiar laugh, he realizes the master has regenerated into Saxon. And what I did here is Dr. Yanni returned to the 90s, and basically Yanni, with what left of his life, he formed the political side of things, and once he was dying, he would set up his son, Harold Saxon. And this would set him up for his regeneration to take over, kind of give him a higher position, and eventually get him into presidency, prime ministery or whatever. You can call it self-nepotism. I called it. Saxon sends Torchwood to check out possible Yeti sightings, a little callback to 2, while sending Unit to investigate a Zygon movement. They have no help here. For the first time in their back and forth between the Doctor and the Master, Saxon has 10 in a corner, and eventually all options are spent. 10 is captured and forced to age thanks to the whole technology of like aging and his whole hand from 10A. And they release the drones, and they remove 1/10 of the Earth's population. The Doctor's last move was to let Martha escape. A year later, the Saxon has a grip on the Earth. He finally catches Martha, but not before she spreads the word of the world's hero, the Doctor. Unit has been able to make their way and scrounge up some stuff, and they're able to make the Archangel network with satellites. So instead of it being Saxon being the whole reason why it is it's just he did a forceful takeover is what I wanted Saxon to. But I want the Archangel network to be set up by Unit, and this will be coming up to bite them in the ass later. And it's powered by thought because as everyone's thinking about the Doctor, it does amazing things, which even sets him back to his original age. It's used to reverse his age, turn the clock back so that year never happened. As everything settles, 10 proposes he takes Saxon to avoid another tragedy, but Saxon has a wife. And she doesn't like the fact that this is the man she married. She shoots him. Hiding behind the successful man that used to be her husband. She's disgusted. And 10's arm refusing to regenerate, he passes away. Later, 10 burns Saxon's body because it's dangerous for any DNA of a Time Lord to be left around. Martha discusses the face of Bo, and the Doctor's one of the Doctor's oldest friends who passed away during the adventures, quoting that the Bo's face of "You are not alone," meaning the Master's disguise at showing that you are not alone is just ends up being Yanni, but Yanni's an acronym for "You are not alone." So Martha and 10 understand this. Martha wants to stay for a little bit, but because of the threat to her family, she wants to kind of like end things soon and live her life. And of course, she still wants to go on more adventures at some point if the 10 was to call. We see the Doctor go and meet the next Doctor. He reunites with Donna, and they in their whole evasion of the Antipose. Donna's whole thing, aside from giving the 10 a reason to explore himself, get to know himself better, express himself, not have to worry about depending on someone to make him happy. Like, of course, he's still down in the dumps, but Donna adds a new element to 10's life, which is just friendship. Someone there to just be joking with him. Like, she's not mentally there with him, but, like, she's got the energy to match the Doctor. I got, like, hair. Yeah. So the whole thing about their adventures is Donna is trying to... both of them are trying to worry about their self-worth and how to express themselves. 10 in this period is working out his funk with Rose a lot more because it's like it was too fresh for him in 10B. Now here in 10C, it's like he's got someone to rely on to kind of reflect better. Um, they do run into his future wife, River Song, that seems to known him for centuries, but um, he's just meeting her to witness that she ends up dying in front of him. So she's at her end, he's at the beginning of their relationship. Um, and of course, he learns very quickly. He knows she knows his name and um, that they're married. So he holds that. Um, we do the whole thing with the ood, kind of the little like Dr. Donna. I think should be sprinkled across all of 10C. Um, let's see here, and then. And then I really like what like River Song to like because she's like Doctor Song. It's like, well, there's three doctors here: the Doctor, Doctor Song, and she gives Donna a little bit of boost because she can read the room a lot better than a lot of other people. Um, and then Donna, on the side of things, seeing herself as worthless in the grand scheme of things, while the entire universe is screaming otherwise. During a stop at the Universal Market, Donna is tricked into creating an alternate universe where she didn't meet up with the Doctor and stop the Reknos and all that. This kills the Doctor. The universe follows not far behind, with a lot of other people falling. She's helped by Rose to alter history again back to the normal path with a message of the end of the universe to the Doctor. The stars are going out, apparently. 10 returns to the Earth, but it's gone. Someone moved it. It's not in its parking spot. Eventually, all of 9 and 10 era companions and are able to reach out to locate the Earth as he finds them with an old voice to cut them off. The feed is in static, and it takes over the call with Davros, the creator of the Daleks, taking over. The Dalek Empire has returned. The Emperor from well, actually, no. This isn't the Emperor. This is one of the few lords from Doomsday that survived. And then they're able to round up all of 10 and the companions. As they go to destroy the TARDIS, Donna is inside. With all hope lost, the TARDIS reappears with Donna and another 10. While the TARDIS is getting destroyed, 10's hand from 10A is able to regenerate, exposed by the energy of the TARDIS console, similar to Rose. So instead of it being like the regeneration energy into the hand, I would really like for 10 not to use up that regeneration and put it into the hand. And I think this is kind of the best thing because I wanted to use it later. Donna's able to she's able to gather more of the energy because she's also exposed, so her mind is able to connect, become Dr. Donna. After the Daleks are defeated, the planet is returned. All the planets that they took and were returned to their original thing. We get to see a fully piloted TARDIS. Everyone goes their separate ways. Rose and the Tylers are left in the other universe with the doppelganger of 10. Donna sadly feels the effects of the connection to the Doctor, and and has to be severed. Her memories need to be sealed with a blocking the link to the info, and he's got to leave her with her grandpa and mom. This leaves the Doctor alone. He goes exploring by himself to try and occupy his mind to find himself in another historical event he can't help. And because of Pompeii, he's kind of like, I don't want to touch this, but his emotional state from everyone, he's refusing, trying to force a change, but the universe finds its way to correct itself as an Ood. So everything goes back to normal, or alters itself to everything goes the way it was supposed to go. And Ood appears, warning that a melody of 3 knocks will be. What? That's weird. It's a melody of 4 knocks, I'm pretty sure. The melody of 4 knocks will be the end of of the Doctor's song. So, and their leader has a message for them. So come by the Ood planet. Not wanting for his life to end yet, he goes on. He'll need there to be a long way round trip. After many other adventures, marrying Elizabeth I, making the nickname the Virgin Queen incorrect, and stopping the trickster from invading Earth with the power of chaos from removing Sarah Jane from history. And, him unwriting her future, as it were. So basically, he has many years. So I think about 50 years should go with 10 doing stuff he wants to do. And it doesn't, because he's time traveling, the Ood doesn't notice this. So I think the Doctor should have some time in 10's body, kind of just going around, going on a bucket list tour. And I think instead of him stopping by everybody during his regeneration, I don't mean like, yes, he'll still do the stuff during the end of time, but because he knows he's gonna head to his death once he goes to the Ood. 11 said to Joe and Sarah that 10 went by and saw everybody. And I think instead of forcing him to exist, I think now's the time for him to go around, meet up with people, check in with people. And I think this is also the best time for, like, even though I know the Brigadier, he would have probably came back to the show if he had lived longer. But I think this is the time where the Brigadier getting revealed to pass away is so much better, because he thinks he's lost a big friend as he's like dealing with fate. So time catches up with us all is basically what the end of time is supposed to be. He goes back to the Ood. They explain the happening with the cult of Saxon. They revive him, but thanks to the DNA left on his wedding ring that the wife had taken. And then this is, sadly, this is karma for her trying to keep a memory of the Herald Saxon she married. During his resurrection, she interrupts it, making it an unstable mess with a constant 4-note beat playing in his head. 10 arrives and recruits Donna's grandpa, Wilfred Mont, as they try to track down the Master and the new Prime Minister. Learned of his return and has had files from the unit about the Forgotten Year. So the Prime Minister is able to access files from the Forgotten Year, has an understanding of what the Master can do, wants Saxon to build the immortality machine, so he can run the country and even the world forever. However, Saxon is able to trick them by masking a DNA swap machine and using the Archangel network that the unit set up to beat him. Now he can use it to change the entire human race into him. So basically, why I was like, oh, I don't want Archangel Network to be from the Master. I think it's best that unit builds it. Is they built it to make it beat someone, but now that someone is coming back to use that to make it hell on earth for them. Or him now. Of course, Wilf is in the TARDIS at this time, and Donna is protected by the energy of the TARDIS. As Tan and Wilf are about to confront Saxon, a star from Gallifrey arrives, hinting that the Time Lords of the Time War want to basically force their way into this time period. And this is during their most heated battle of the entire war. Making connection to the present with Saxon as the key. They plan to do a reverse Big Bang as an existence bomb, and with cause and effect being locked in a loop. So basically, everyone will just exist in the same, existence for forever, and they will skip the aftermath and go straight to being people of consciousness alone. Of course, Ten confronts them. The new Time Lords are led by the resurrected Rassilon. Ten breaks the link to send them back with Ras. Is about to end Ten's life, but Saxon jumps in for using him as a pawn for their game, because the Master's the one who plays the game. He's not the one to be played. Ten, basking in his survival, hears the 4 knocks from Wilf, who had gotten himself stuck in with the radiation chamber again. Sacrifices himself to save him, has an emotional breakdown, but like I said, with the whole thing with, I think the Brigadier being the reason why he goes to Ood, not Ood, the Ood planet. I think the Brigadier is like the thing that breaks him to be like, okay, time for me to go face it. That kind of like in the middle of his breakdown, he's like, that's why. He's able to reflect on everything, and how far he's gone from the man he's trying to be. In his final moments before regenerating, he says goodbye to everyone during his time. This allows him to reflect on his past events, and even gave most thing, like he actually leaves presents for most of the companions here, in order for their lives to including Donna, who he gave a lottery ticket for her wedding from her father that he borrowed money off of. And after checking on Rose, before they met, he's at the very brink of regenerating. He gets into the TARDIS, starts flying away, an explosion of energy starts, and he's about to crash with him regenerating into 11. 10A is a very quick thing. Not 10A, 11A is very quick because it's mostly Amy. He goes back, comes back to her as an adult, meets Rory as well. And then, they get to see the Daleks in World War II. They get things like the Vincent Van Gogh episode. They run into River, starting their connection. Like, she isn't early days. Like, she knows the Doctor, and they've had adventures, but this is still early days for her. And he's getting used to seeing her in his timeline now. And, like, he's starting to take notice, and every time he sees her, I think it's best that 11 is scared, because this is technically he believes this is going to be his end with her, because new face and all that. So he's like scared meeting River, because every single time they meet fills a page of the diary. So he's just getting anxious. 11 restarts the universe using the Pandora's box after the whole thing with like the villains coming back to like, well, you're going too far. You're changing up the universe too much by your existence. We got to do something about you. I do not kill Rory here, because it's no use. No use to kill him aside from a fake out death. Of course, thanks to the memories of Amy, the universe comes together. During 11B, after their adventures, Amy and Rory decide for a home life. With now and then planetary stops for 2 years. One day, an invitation from the Doctor, and with some tickets, they do the whole astronaut thing. And this is kind of like the start. 11B. So 11A is kind of getting used to Amy, Rory, getting to see River. This is the Doctor kind of like he's still in his phase of like checking off the bucket list. 11B is mostly the dauntingness of the possible end of the Doctor. And this is also kind of like the very beginning is they realize that Amy's pregnant. Turns out that she's been kidnapped by enemies of the Doctor. They try to weaponize the baby. And it turns out that River's song is the baby. Then they go back to do the whole World War II and Funny Mustache Man episode. And it turns out that their childhood friend, I think it's Melanie, who they named their daughter after, is actually their daughter and childhood friend all together in one bundle. And that's also where like she's still in her kill the Doctor phase, but with him showing his passion for her, and the amazing man that she heard from Amy and Rory, it's like, okay, I can do the whole sacrifice thing. And she has a sacrifice, so she doesn't get a full regeneration cycle like at all the other Time Lords. So she only gets a few. So she died by getting shot by Amy. Then she died here. So I think giving her like 4 or 5 regenerations would be fine. But I think for trying to undo a lethal dose of something that regeneration normally can't do anything about is perfect. Trying to find out the other stuff, because it's mostly that until the middle. And then most of the back half of 11B is like him kind of getting ready for the death by the astronaut, setting everything up. Very similar to his like 50-year getaway as 10. This is more of like, okay, this is it. No more. He finds every avenue, hangs with everybody he can. But at the very end, it's he faces it. they do the whole like paradox thing where he needs to die. They were able to find the whole way around it by having the robot suit. 10C is straight up the same. Roy and Amy, get a few more adventures. They hint at Clara becoming a companion. We lose Amy and Rory, and because they're not doing the whole constant death stuff in mind, this is the first like major death since. Well, yeah, no, they haven't technically lost anybody since Edric. Because I think Edric is the only one who's passed away, really. And then most of that is, of course, doing the whole thing with Clara. I think kind of showing the whole, like, hinting at the whole scattered through the Doctor's timeline. That's perfect. And then kind of ending it with the whole 50th anniversary. And then him regenerating into 12. So the only thing I really reason why I had Meta 10 not come out of regeneration energy is because when he goes to heal River, and he's been, I think him using spare amounts of the regeneration energy, and then it starts depleting his final regeneration to his knowledge, I think is perfect. But I think instead of having the whole crack come back, I think definitely just having the Doctor regenerate and wonder what the hell, because he broke what is normal. And I think him as Capaldi now thinking he shouldn't have another life in him, I think on top of learning, I think 12A is mostly him learning what is the face for, how good of a man is he. He's actually, like, he's wearing his insecurities and, like, the biggest issues he has on his sleeve. Capaldi's one of my favorite Doctors because he's usually, like, he shows the true personality of the Doctor most of the time. Like, I don't really care. I'm here for the adventure, not really for anybody personally. I'm not some hero. I'm just some guy coming through. Of course, I'm going to come and save as many as I can, but, the whole thing where, like, he ended up, they lost somebody in the Dalek to save the rest. Moments like that is perfect. 11B being the, like, downfall of Clara, I think is perfect because I think her being this impossible girl, I think is a perfect sting. Kind of being like, well, we're the Doctor and the legend, and then I'm the impossible girl that helps the Doctor and gets out of so many bad situations. I think that's perfect for a 12B. I do wish they held off, like, got Clara out of the way a little bit earlier. That way we could get a little bit more of a build. And then 12C is mostly kind of like the Doctor's trying everything. The only thing I would change major about this is Missy is not the Master. I think introducing... what's her name? I want to go to bed because I'm real tired. Trying to remember her name, because it wasn't the Ronnie. I'm not thinking of Missy. Oh, the Ramona. Yeah, Ramona. I think Missy actually turning out to be Ramona is perfect. being like, hey, another Time Lord has survived, and she's come to actually be friends. But I think her, because she was president before they brought back Rassilon, I think once that was going to happen, she knew a coup was going to happen or something was going to happen. She fled. But because of her dealing with the Time War, I think the morals that she originally got from the Doctor has been changed. So I think it's best that this is where it's kind of like where the screwed up but like helpfulness that Missy presents, I think is perfect. 12C's end, of course, I think Saxon should come back, kind of being like, yeah, I got out of the Time War 2 for a second time, and this time, it's for permanent. And then him regenerating off screen, but killing Ramona so she can't return, and killing yet another of the Doctor's companions and making it return down to them being the only two known Time Lords. And at this point, the Master does not know that the Gallifrey's out there. And then 13, I really think her, like, because this is the first time she thinks she's female, I think 13 and 15 should always worry about the first time of being, because this is they think is their first cycle, but this is them getting used to the changes that they're going through. Like, a lot of people didn't like the One Culture episode with like it was another god. It was like the Dream or Wish. Like, it was a giant spider being, and they forced a culture thing that episode. I think that's perfect because I think the Doctor, because the Doctor's changing, he will be treated differently in a lot of other places. And I think having the Doctor at least have some time, both as Whittaker and as Gadawa, I think both of those need to take a moment to be like, okay, well, I'm this now, so I gotta avoid this stuff, and I also gotta like change up certain things I do in certain times. And it'd be difficult because the Doctor's used to being the man figure or the being a white man. I'll just say that. So I think her having like some adventures to get like trying to get back into her normal thing, but then she's like, oh, can't do no more, and then her having a little bit like quickly learn it after a few episodes. And then end that season with kind of like the wrapping up of small stories with the companions, and then have the Master come back, because now that she didn't know his face, now it comes back. Spy Master makes so much sense now. Instead of just being like, oh yeah, so Missy or whatever. I never understood where the Master from Jodie comes from, but I think him taking, coming in and out, and then they have the whole like, because of how things with companions have gone, her being more guarded makes a lot more sense as things are getting worse and worse. Even with like the whole thing that 11 did, where he like erased himself from history. Or erase him, the quietness of the Doctor is not as it's not as bad as before he did that whole I am dead thing. And then definitely Jodie ending with the whole face off with the Master. Trying to think if there's any other things. 14 I think is fine. 15, I would definitely give him a third season, but the issue is I think we should have moved on with. I think the beginning of Whitaker was fine. Getting into new stuff. I mean, every now and again, I think 15 is dealing with what remains of some stuff, like consequences of his action, like Midnight. And I think 14, after the by generation, should be going around making amends to people. You know, starting with Earth and then going out to some of the allies he's made, like Strax and all that. So basically, because 14 went out of his way during his whole life to do all this stuff, he doesn't have too many regrets. Having 15 come by and be like, all right, so I've already done most of the stuff. Now I just need to go down the small little to-do list. But I don't really know what I would like to do. I think the Ronnie and trying to return Omega would be amazing. Definitely, I'd like because the Doctor is treated like a god. It's best that he deals with the forces that are godlike. I think that's definitely a good one, but I think that should be introduced in the back half of the 15B, and then 15C has some of them, but most is going to be others. Like, I'd really like him to deal with the Trickster, and then I think after him dealing with everything, I think 16 needs to start with a whole new perspective, because 15, I think his final thing should be meeting with Susan and kind of like regenerating with no regrets. So 16 is all new stuff. He's fresh. He's trying to deal with a lot of stuff. But I think 16 in this rewrite should, like, after with everything else dealt with, a lot of stuff off his shoulders, or his or her shoulders, they shoulders, their shoulders, is going to hunt down where they originated from. I think that's what 16 job should be, is just where did I come from, because the Gallifreyan archives are saying, because 13 got to learn about it. So I'm apparently supposed to be not from Gallifrey, where am I from? And that's all of 16's whole purpose, is finding the origin of the Doctor. But anyways, I got to get off here. As you can kind of probably see halfway through this thing, I started getting really tired. My eyes are getting heavy, and I really need to go to bed because I have stuff to do tomorrow. But I'll see you guys in the next one anyways. Bye-bye.